I've been telling you for some time now about taxcutswork.com and the good work, really important work that they are doing to sustain the tax cuts that have thus far been put in place. And it is all done by the Job Creators Network Foundation. And I'm happy to have the president of that foundation on, Elaine Parker. Elaine Parker, welcome to the Dennis Prager Show.
Thanks, Dennis. Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, you folks are fighters, and I am a big admirer of fighters, as my listeners know. So why don't you tell them what you're fighting for?
Sure. Thanks for letting me talk to your listeners today. We are fighting for the 30 million small businesses and the nearly 60 million employees that they hire every day and employ. And we are fighting for those folks. They are dependent on the success of small business. And what we did was when the Congress was first talking about tax cuts and tax reform, they were talking about individual and corporate tax reform, and they were leaving out those almost 90 million people that depend on the success of small business. We refer to them as Main Street small businesses. And so we fought to make sure that small businesses were included, and we call it kind of the third class. So we've always had two classes of tax cuts. Now we've got the third class. So we're really proud we were part of that fight.
Give me that number again of people employed by small business in America.
There's almost 60 million people employed by small businesses.
Why would they? All right. So why would they have been forgotten to begin with?
You know, you'll have to ask the folks in Congress, but that's why Job Creators Network is there fighting for them, because it's a big voice, and we wanted to amplify that voice, and we did that through a campaign called Tax Cuts Now. And today we're working on a campaign called Tax Cuts Work, and your listeners can go to our website at taxcutswork.com, and they can calculate their tax savings, and they can actually sign a letter, and they can tell Congress to keep their hands off their tax savings.
That's taxcutswork.com, folks. That calculator is terrific, and you can send a letter if you so choose. Obviously, I hope you do choose. I support you, and it's not even financial support you're asking for. It's people to simply sign up and become part of your army, as it were. And I am one of them. And the reason is these people are doing the good stuff. What were you unhappy about in the tax cuts? What would you have liked to have seen that didn't take place?
You know, I mean, we certainly are thrilled that this bill got passed. We think it was super important for everybody to get tax relief. And let's be clear. Everyone got tax relief on this. More than 5 million employees have received raises and bonuses, but everyone is getting more money back in their paycheck, and that's the reason why the tax cuts has gotten so popular. But is it a perfect bill? No, there can always be improvements made, but we didn't want to let the perfect be the enemy of the good.
Oh, God bless you. I'm totally with you. My question was not in the form of criticizing it. I'd like to know what else you would like.
Well, on the small business side, we would love to, and the middle class side, we'd love to see the tax cuts be permanent. We'd love to see on the small business side for them to increase the threshold on the deduction. We'd love to see them eliminate the exclusion to the service industries, and actually maybe increase the deduction a little bit for small businesses. The amount of people that they're employing in this country, we're certainly seeing the benefits and the job growth. Now we need to continue. You know, we've started this engine. We need to rev that engine even more.
That's exactly right. Are you worried about the 2018 elections?
Well, the part of our campaign, the Tax Cuts Work campaign, we're launching actually next week, is a nationwide bus tour. We're traveling through almost 50 stops, about 30 states, visiting congressional districts in states along the way, and speaking at a grassroots level with small business owners to really get the message out about how these tax cuts are working, because there's nothing better than hearing it from the horse's mouth, and that's small business owners and how they needed these tax cuts, they wanted these tax cuts, and now they're putting these tax cuts to work. through expanding their business and creating jobs.
Again, folks, that's all you have to do is go to taxcutswork.com. One final question to you personally. What got you so animated? Are you a small business owner? Or your parents? What animated you?
I actually was a small business owner, Dennis. There was a time in my life where it sounds kind of funny, but I owned a tire store with my family, and it's a struggle every day. You're thinking about how you pay your vendors and how you pay your employees, and you always do that first. And we always paid ourselves last. And sometimes we didn't pay ourselves at all. And our employees never knew that, but we made it a point to make sure that they got paid first.
Why did you say it sounds funny? Because you're a woman at a tire store? Is that why?
Yeah, I think so. But I know a lot about tires now, that's for sure.
I think it's great knowledge. By the way, I love small business, and I think all the time of the sacrifices that you folks make to keep your business alive, and how many don't survive. Do you have any statistic on that? The number of people who open a business and it just doesn't survive?
You know, there's a lot of stats out there. They say that there was a point in time where there were actually more businesses closing than opening.
Yes,
and
that's right.
With the passage of this tax bill, we're going to start to see that trend change. And so, like I said, we're excited about it. We want to be that. We are that voice for Main Street small businesses.
You certainly
and we're
are.
going to continue amplifying it so that people can hear that these tax cuts are working.
Well, I'm doing everything I can to help you and thereby help small business in America. Elaine Parker, thank you so much.
Thank you.
She is the president of Job Creators Network Foundation. All you need to do, and really these are the fighters, taxcutswork.com. Just go to their website. That's all I ask.